Well, hey, my name is Brandon Gilbert. I serve as a senior ministry director of College of Residency at Redeemer Church in Lubbock. And really excited to talk to you today about three things that I would consider when starting a residency program. The first one is the why. Why do you want to see a residency program begin at your church? I think it's lack of vision that things fail, and not understanding the reasons why and moving forward with those reasons as your fuel. When things get tough or things don't go the way you want it to look, sometimes we can walk away from that. And so why would you want to see a residency? For us, we go to Ephesians chapter 4. We want to see the equipping of the saints unto the work of ministry. And so we see the next step with our college students and post-grads moving into a season where they can learn and develop and ultimately be sent. The why behind Redeemer Lubbock in particular is we want to see people sent well. We want to see them sent well as all-in church members. We want to see them sent well overseas to unreached people groups. And we want to see them sent well to church planting pipelines. And so our why becomes very important when seasons are rocky, when things are tough, when the finances aren't where they want to be. We keep the why in front of us to keep plugging away and cast that vision to those people that we're seeing coming in, and even casting it to our college students and those that we have influence around. The second is the how. How are you going to accomplish these things? The how takes the practicalities of it, from an assessment program that brings them in. What does your assessment look like? What character qualities are you looking for in the people that you're bringing into your residency? What does it look like to bring people in? Who are leading these things? What does that how look like? What are you going to teach? What is the cohort style going to look like? What will your practical implications be? The how determines what the experience of the program. And for us, we want to look at our cohort times around two things: biblical literacy and theological training. And so when we talk about the how at Redeemer Lubbock, our desire is to see our residents grow in their biblical understanding, from the historical to the authorship, to what that means practically for their lives. We also want to see them grow theologically. And so what are the important theological implications of the things the Bible teaches us? How do those things get played out in practical ministry experience? And so they sit in their classroom and they understand, they get to knowledge and equipping, and then they're sent to a practical ministry experience. And so in our how, they get to walk those things out while dealing with real life situations. Rather than case studies on a paper, they're sitting across from young men and women in college. They're discipling, they're hearing care stories, they're walking with them through victories and through those times of mourning. And so when we look at our how, we want to accomplish these things through a cohort style that allows them to group together, to find encouragement with people who are in the same life stage, and then ultimately walk that out as servants of the church, where they're growing and equipping, growing in their giftings, and seeing those things played out on the stage. Lastly is the who. When you've defined the why and you've defined the how, you can begin to turn towards the who. And that would include two people. That would include those that will be a part of your program, but also those that are going to help you lead and teach the program. When we think about those that are coming in, we want to find those men and women that their desires and their affections are being stoked and stirred for ministry, that we've seen them caring for people in our college ministry. We've heard that they have cared well at other churches, and they are beginning to wonder, what does it mean for me to take the next step in ministry? That's the who that we're looking for. And sometimes that plays out with them following all the way through to a new job at a new church, or being part of a church plant, or sometimes that leads them into coming into the church and really wondering, man, this wasn't where I'm supposed to be. This wasn't what God is calling me to, but they learn valuable leadership experience. And so when we look at the who from our participants standing, we want to see those who are wanting to take the next step in understanding what it would mean to come into full-time work on a church staff. And then our second part of the who is those that will join us in leadership. Who are those on your staff? Who are those in your life? Who are those that you know that you can invite in to help facilitate discussion, facilitate lectures, that can go through book studies? That way the residency director is not handling everything, but rather inviting others to use their skills and gifting, and allows those participating to hear from other voices and different perspectives. And so in the residency program at Redeemer, we have a great plethora of teachers. all the way across the board. Some lean more theologically, some lean more practically, but all lean into the gospel of Jesus. And so when we look at the who, we want to define what we want in our participants and what we want to see them already doing. And then that leadership team that's going to be around the residency program, helping care for, disciple, and train those leaders. And so these are just three things that I hope will serve your ministry as you think about what is the next step in the residency program development for your church.